Welcome to Heart Speak Podcast, episode 88, Nothing to Hide. Well, we're certainly going through so many changes, aren't we? So many things happening, so many things coming at us and needing to be integrated and worked with. I wonder if you're still looking at your little seeds that you planted that you may have even forgotten about several weeks ago that we planted these seeds. And I've watched mine as they've grown. The stem has become stronger. There were helper shoots I saw around my stem, but I'm really feeling so much stronger and taller. And part of that was sharing with you last time about my feelings about my racism, my privileges, and it felt important for me to own who I was. And that's what this particular balsamic moon is about, owning ourselves, nothing to hide. Because while we're trying to keep secrets, while we're trying to hide ourselves, we will always be weakened. We'll always be disempowered. And this is a time for us to become empowered, not necessarily by going to the gym or becoming stronger, but because that power comes when we have nothing to hide. When we have no fear, we are strong. Now, that is not stupidity, please. I'm not suggesting you should get rid of your fear of whether I'm not suggesting you go and climb a mountain that might be too scary for you or do something stupid. What I'm suggesting to you is that it's not the fear of something outside you, but the fear of owning who you are. Does that make sense? Oh, when we own who we are, we're strong. That's what I mean by nothing to hide. I've spent my life meeting parts of myself that I suppose I would have preferred to keep in the shadows, hide in the closets, keep in the caves. And you've worked with me, some of you, on this, going deeper and deeper inside ourselves, meeting the parts of us that have been hidden, partly because of society not wanting to see them, or we feel that society would not allow them to be seen, but often it's our own judgments. So when I hear someone say, oh, my family wouldn't accept this, or this part of my work wouldn't accept this part of me, remember, we create our reality, so that the more we believe there's opposition to who we are and what we do and what we think, the more we meet it. And you might say, well, that's a good thing because this inner self of us is protecting ourselves. But sometimes what we're actually protecting ourselves against is being all that we are. And what we create in the outer world is that opposition. And now you might say, no, it's real. That opposition's real. Well, it is. But when I accept that part into myself, as I allow that part to be part of me, the opposition dies away. Now, not always. Again, don't want to get into discussion as to whether or not that's fully true. But the more we flow with who we are, the more we don't oppose ourselves, the easier our life becomes. Going with our own flow. Now, again, this doesn't mean that you won't have crises in your life or losses in your life or illnesses, etc. It's just that when you're going in the direction of that flow, you and I don't start to see it as something against us. We're saying, okay, this has come into my life for a purpose. Let me deal with the immediate purpose problem, and then I will understand the bigger picture of why this has come into my life. And that's the way we're moving now. We're moving in the flow. I've spoken about being in alignment with yourself, alignment with the new you that's waiting for you, the future you, the part of you that resonates so deeply. And remember, if you're excited by something, then there's a resonance for you. Move in that direction. If you're getting upset by something, any emotion, move in the direction, but recognize that when we move in a direction, we're also attracting into our life those things that will empower us to know ourselves more fully. In other words, we're not going to war against something. We're meeting ourselves. And that meeting may mean, well, I'm going to let this go because this passion is not actually serving me. It's not nurturing me. And yet, it may also help us to meet a part of ourselves that needs nurturing. So when I was looking at all the issues around racism, prejudice, etc., I met parts of myself that I was prejudiced against. I was judging that if I spoke those things to you, you might say, well, who does she think she is? Or I would have judgments. And actually, it wasn't about what I spoke about. What I realized that I had judgments on myself about how I should appear in the world. I wonder if any of you understand that. And it was nothing to do with my outer covering. It's my inner self. I know that those of you listening are amazing human beings. But more than that, and again, I'm not belittling being human, I'm saying, what is the spirit inside you? What is the intelligence inside you? What is the consciousness inside you that is wanting to be birthed at this time? And nobody, everybody may go, what? Who are you? What are you? And again, it's not about what's inside. It's not about what's on the surface, because that is almost understandable. So I'm suggesting, and we're going to do this in the dark moon phase, is that this is a time for preparing yourself for what is waiting to be seen. And maybe we don't want to use the word darkness, but in the mystery. It reminds me of when I went to south of France to see Mary Magdalene. And I may have spoken about this before, but everybody told me, oh, you're going to find Mary Magdalene in this part, this city, or this town, or this area. And as we went around the south of France, we kept hearing different stories about her. Oh, she was the wife of Jesus. She was the mother of his children. She was the penitent sinner. She was this, she was that. And through my intuitive self, I kept asking her, who are you? Who are you? And what she told me, she said, I'm mystery. And mystery is an initiation into the unknown, into that which has yet not been created into reality. That's all mystery is. And she said, everybody needs to put a label on me, because by putting a label on me, they feel more comfortable. What they can't deal with me is that I'm mystery. And I thought that is so true. And we're seeing that in the world today, needing to have labels so that we are understood. And I totally understand that. But in my work, I've watched as someone has explained to me the reason that they don't fit in is boom, boom, boom. And I say to them, but you would never have fitted in even if you hadn't been boom, boom, boom. You already, when you were born, you were already an outsider. And then they say, oh, yes, maybe it's because of past lives. Forget all of that. I'm not suggesting, again, past lives don't have a relevance, but it's another label. And that's what I see as what's happening to us, is all those labels are being broken down. All those ways in which we've appeared in the world are being broken down. And that's the balsamic moon. It's about, what am I celebrating that I've learned about myself this month? And what have I accepted into myself that I had maybe rejected or put to one side? What part of me have I met? And what am I dissolving away that I choose no longer to be the way I appear in the world? In what ways have you and I created a persona to fit in? How like Mary Magdalene, have I taken on a persona that if I do this, then at least people will acknowledge me? Or how have I tried to make other people comfortable? Oh, I'll be the penitent sinner if that's what you want. I'll be the prostitute, just whatever. But where has that label got stuck? Where do you now believe it, even though it wasn't true initially? That happens, isn't it? In my past, I was a great pleaser. I'm a really good pleaser. I could read because of my intuitiveness. I was able to read what other people needed and I would become it. And the comments I would get was, oh my goodness, you're so easy to fit in with. You're so easy to get on with. And then when part of me went, okay, enough already. I'm not going to be so easy to get on with. Or there was a part of me that was actually, often it was about, I don't really want to go along with this plan anymore. I would speak up and I would immediately meet the person who said, where's that nice person that was inside you? Where are they? I want to see them. And it was so much about, I was playing a game and manipulating others to see me in that role. And I like using that word, manipulating. I was prostituting myself, I'll use that word as well, in order to keep myself in a certain status that would be acceptable. And then a part of me went, oh, enough already. We're not going to do this anymore. Have you had that experience? And you may, and I'm thinking that I've spoken to people who say, they see this as a mirror outside themselves. So they say, oh, this person is so outrageous. They just say what they think. And I go, and would you like to do that? So what do we judge in others is what we would like to do in ourselves. So what part of you or I are judging others for being in a certain way when actually it's our privilege to be that way? So this is about no more hiding. This is about coming out, coming out party. And we are heading towards this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction in Pluto at the end of this month, this June month, in Capricorn. Did I say that? In Capricorn. And I want to just say that this is really happening already now. It takes about 2 or 3 weeks before the actual date or the exact date of the conjunction for us to feel this. So what is this about? Jupiter, expansion, exaggeration, Pluto, transformation, secrets, gems, Capricorn, structure, belief, organizations, governments, institutions, finances, any type of organized institution. And that's being transformed by the goddess of the underworld, Pluto. She's saying, enough. And it's not just to break things down because they shouldn't be there. It's to break things down that are corrupt, are keeping secrets, are hierarchical. Pluto likes chaos. But that chaos is not without order. That chaos is orderly chaos. In other words, what is not in order with the divine plan? What is not actually serving the greater good? That's what's breaking down. And this will mean, and I know you've heard me speak about this, Saturn is also going backwards and we'll go back into Capricorn. So what's happening is, because we're between the worlds, there are organizations who are trying to slip in and create greater controls through maybe vaccinations, through maybe AI, through banking. We're going to see all this happen, where this is our plan, we're doing this for your good. Capricorn is very paternal, wants to, we're doing this for your good, we're trying to save your life, we're trying, just see that as not true. There is nothing that, nobody can save my life because it's my life. And if I believe that as a person now in this particular body is the only life I've ever had, and that someone can choose whether I live or die, that's ridiculous. Nobody is responsible for my body. Nobody is responsible for my life. And anyway, I am far more than just one body, one life. I'm an eternal being who's having this creative experience on this earth at this time. And I will make the choices when I make changes. Wow. You hear me? So this is about accountability, responsibility. Capricorn is about those things. So at the moment, there's a lot of cries about, I want to be empowered again. I want to take back my power. And I'm all for that. But for years, I've been asking myself, why did we ever give our power away? Why did we do that? Who said, hey, give your power away? And if I wanted to understand how powerful I was, I just have to look at what happened back in March or February or May, when the whole world locked down over a belief in a virus, or a belief in the outcome of a virus. Do I believe there was a virus? Yes, I'll go along with that. But the whole world locking down, whoever decided on that, they were brilliant. Oh, they must have felt powerful. So this has been like an experiment, and an experiment I don't ever want to repeat, to see, wow, we can do this. And so the next one will be, wow, everybody have a vaccine. This will be great for you. Please think it out, learn about this. Again, if you want to know more, make sure you're part of my mailing list. You can come onto my seminars. But I'm just saying is, let's take responsibility rather than someone else saying, I know what's best for you. When you hear those words, walk the other way. But this is a time for accountability. Now, this is the new world. This is part of the Aquarian age that's coming, is self-accountability. And self-accountability does not mean blame. It means ownership. It means responding to yourself. It means responding to the uniqueness of who you are, because only you know who you are, where you're going. And even if you don't know where you're going, your heart does. You're listening to your heart, you're intuiting, you're staying connected to the earth and bringing energy up from the earth that allows you to stay connected to the creator's essence. And you're connecting to the moon. The moon is keeping you moving through the phases, and she too is expanding. So as long as we keep that connection, heart, moon, earth, we're doing pretty well. And every time you meet a part of yourself, bring it to your heart. Thank you for being part of my life. I accept you as part of my life. And whenever we get into a stage of feeling agitated or confused, recognize it's mystery. Oh, goody, I'm entering mystery. So empowerment equals accountability. Know what possesses you, know what you possess. This is Balsamic Moon. What is waiting to be possessed by you, owned by you? And what are you holding on to that is not your possession, or you no longer wish to hold on to it? Simple as that. And if someone tries to take something away from you, and you start to go, no, that's mine, then ask yourself, is it time to let it go? Or is it truly something that you have not taken ownership up until this time? What really matters to you? What really matters to me? Remember, we talked about the three adjectives. What are your core values that are essential to you? What nurtures your soul? What is in rhythm with you? Close all the doors not in harmony with your soul. Use that as a method. Many doors have closed recently. And I'm inspired to just give you a very simple meditation. Again, another simple one. I hope you enjoyed the last one, settling into our heart. But this is one that has followed me all my life. And I'm really still not very clear about what it means, but I want to offer it to you. There you are. You can now become clear. But if we go back to the idea that our life is about us being in the center of a flower and we have all those petals, and our journey towards wholeness is to open all those petals and to live from them all, or to at least acknowledge they're all open and they're part of us. What I want to just take you into a very simple meditation process that you can use over the next few days and even beyond, is to show which of my petals am I focusing on now and which ones are still awaiting me. And it isn't about a conquest or a contest into how many petals you've got open. But your intuition may wish to show you something, and I just ask that you may follow me into that. So please, if you're in a safe place to close your eyes, please do so. Take a few good deep breaths, short breath in, long breath out. Breathe out all the thoughts that are going around in your head. And settle into your body wherever you are. And then move your awareness into your heart chakra, center of your chest. And through your heart chakra, I want you to see yourself. I'm going to give you on a starship. I'm going to describe the starship. I'm just going to use those words. Inside a starship. And truly, you can look around. Listen. You may be alone, you may be with others. And there is one being who is stepping forward. Again, I use the word being. One being who you trust and respect. They may not be human, but they're somehow you trust them. They're like a guide to you. And they're saying, come over, come and look and see. I've got something to show you. When you get to this table, it's a glass table, please, or a type of glass. On it you see what I'm going to describe as if it's a flower with many petals around it. This is your flower. This is your blueprint. You may see colors. And you even may see layers of petals. And above it is suspended what looks like an arrow on a string. And this arrow on a string is pointing to one or two of the petals, maybe just to one petal, as if to say, this is where you're focused at the moment. This is your reality at the moment. And as you look at that, you also look at some of the other petals, and some of them, it's almost like you recognize them. You don't need to recognize the specifics, but it might be because the colors are bright, or there may be a frequency. You're saying, oh, I know that part, that petal. And then you see there are some petals that are not so bright. And your beautiful guide is saying, yes, you see this. It's as if, you recognize this. These are parts still hidden. And it doesn't feel that it's appropriate for you to say, let me see them now. But I suggest that you return to the starship at a later date and you ask your guide and maybe others to help you to open the doors to these hidden parts. But the very acknowledgement of them is a starting point. And so please say goodbye for a moment to your beautiful guide, your lovely being. Once again, draw your energy back to the room where you are. Please make a note of your findings when you have time. And feel free to share your comments either on the website, the Facebook, etc. And when you are ready, be fully back in the room. And I send many blessings for the amazing beings that we are. May we meet again in the stars, in the moon, and connected to this beautiful Mother Earth. Many blessings.
Thanks for listening to the HeartSpeak podcast with Dr. Christine Page. Please check out all HeartSpeak episodes in the podcast archive section on www.christinepage.com. HeartSpeak is also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Sticher Radio, and now playing on iHeart Radio. You can also watch the archive podcasts on YouTube. Connect with Christine on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, including her newest Facebook group, The Great Mother Calling. Do share with family, friends, colleagues. Join us next time for another edition of HeartSpeak.